So it's been a little over a month since I said I'd update you on my bulking progress, and here we are. I thought I'd break down what's been working for me lately so you can pick up a few tips along the way. So, over the past few weeks, I've been hanging around the upper 150s, usually between 150 and 159 pounds. To put that into perspective, at the end of September, I was weighing in the upper 140s, and by December, I had bumped up to the upper 150s. That's about a 10-pound gain in 3 months. Sure, my body fat percentage has crept up a little bit. I can tell just by how much I can see in the mirror and how much I can physically pinch in some spots, but it's really nothing drastic. I've been pretty consistent with my training, missing only a few sessions. I'm doing an upper lower split, working out 4 days a week with a rest day between every 2 sessions. So I train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, the weekend off. One of the big reasons I stick with this 4 day split is the flexibility it gives me. If I need to push a session to the next day, I can do that without messing up my weekly schedule. With a 5 or 6 day split, if you miss a day, you might have to skip an entire session or adjust your plan, and that can lead to just a buildup of fatigue. 4 days just feels like the sweet spot for me, especially when training isn't my number one priority. It also gives me ample time to recover and build muscle. Since I'm in a bulking phase, I'm training with high intensity. Basically, I push almost every set to failure, except for my compound movements. I honestly think that if I cranked it up to 5 days a week while keeping this intensity, I'd run into recovery issues and just feel burnt out over time. And don't get me wrong, a 5 day split could work for some, and it could work for me, but I would definitely have to lower my intensity to be able to manage 5 days per week. On the nutrition side, I'm eating in a caloric surplus. I'm not tracking everything meticulously right now, but I've done it before and I know roughly how much I need to eat to gain about a half to 1 pound per week. Keep in mind that bulking isn't a linear process. Some weeks the scale might barely budge, then one week it shoots up, or sometimes it even drops a bit before trending upward again. But if you just zoom out over time, and if the overall trend is upward, then you're on the right track. And a little tip here is try to be more active during your day. I have a pretty active job, and I've noticed I naturally eat more on my work days compared to my days off. And just increasing your daily activity helps to keep your metabolism running, which is a nice bonus when you're trying to hit your caloric goals because you're generally going to eat more calories than what you burn if you were more active. So you end up in a net gain of calories by the end of the day. One thing that's been a game changer for me is pushing sets to and sometimes even beyond failure. Really take your muscles to that point of extreme burn and fatigue, and then throw in some partial reps to keep the tension going. Of course, it's super important to maintain good technique even when you're pushing hard. This method may not be for everyone, it depends where you are in your training journey, but if you want to bulk up at a decent pace, you've got to train like you really mean it. You're really trying to force it, especially if you're in that like beginnerish intermediate phase where you're just trying to put on that the bulk of your muscle. Another mindset shift I made a while back was to stop obsessing over the weight on the bar. Instead, I focus on getting in quality, high intensity sets no matter what the rep range I'm working in. I know some people say they don't care about the weight, but deep down they honestly still do. They just mask it by training with ultra strict form. And what works for me is finding the technique where I feel the muscle really working and then progressively getting stronger at that specific movement. It's all about striking a balance between perfect form and adding weight. There's a lot of debate out there about training for hypertrophy. On one hand, you have people who say it's all about adding weight to your compound lifts, On the other, those who insist on perfect robotic form and piling on extra sets. My take on this is to find the sweet spot where you combine both approaches. Because trust me, if it was as simple as just get stronger at compounds and eat in a caloric surplus, wouldn't there be a lot more jacked people around? So that's where I'm at right now. I hope sharing my progress and my approach, whether it's the training split, intensity, or even just little daily tweaks and mindset shifts, helps you figure out what might work best for you. And if you're tired of the same old just do compound lifts advice, maybe this gives you a fresh perspective. So thanks for sticking with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.